Hey YouTube, what's going on? Oh man, I'm telling you what, people coming up my driveway trying to sell me insurance out here. I'm like, what the freak? You know, we don't want any insurance. Leave us the beep alone. Anyways, I've been trying to do this review on this knife here. This is kind of a total generic knife. It's called the Bone Edge. And that's about it. I mean, it says tactical team on the back, self-defense and security. Stainless steel of an unknown origin. I'd imagine it's some type of 420 with probably a very poor heat treat. And it's made in China, no doubt about it. And so it has this leather washer type handle deal. It has a little bit of a guard and a very small pommel. And I wear extra large gloves, as you know, and I can barely get my hands around it. The guard does get in the way. The edges are just a little bit sharp. And if you're doing any type of bushcraft task, it's really uncomfortable, not just because you have to put your thumb over the freaking guard, but you have these funky, I don't know what this is, scalloped out. I guess, you know, from a distance, it kind of reminds me of like a miniature Rambo knife or something. But I tell you what, this is a horrible knife. I just found this in my shed. I've had it for many years, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see how this works. So I got out the Spyderco Sharpmaker, ceramic sharpener, you know, and I put a really wicked edge. Of course, it doesn't really hold very long. I went out in the woods, I did some footage, but it's very hard to hold the camera and then do, you know, batoning and feather sticking and chopping. It was horrible. The footage came out really bad. About half the time, my camera was like over here, and I was hacking over here, and you couldn't see nothing. So I'm like, what the freak? Just delete all that and just talk about it, okay? This is the best that I can do. So yeah, it's a very small knife. It has a very, very generic leather. I guess this is leather. It kind of seems like it's like probably the lowest grade leather there is. Sheath, it's not even worth talking about. But once again, I've had this for a few years. I think I spent roughly around $5. I'm not for sure. It was between $4 and $6. I know that for sure, but it was around $5. And, you know, it was just kind of an impulse buy, you know, and I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, it's like a kind of a modified, I don't know, clip point with this scalloped area, which I did use it to try to like cut a very small limb. It doesn't work. It does do notching. If the wood is very soft, it can at least start the process of notching, but it really isn't very good at all at it. In fact, it's horrible. But to the finger, though, it's very sharp on these edges. So I don't even know what this is for. If you guys know what this is for, these large scalp cuts, it's definitely not a saw, okay? But maybe for a certain type of notching, maybe that's what it's for. As you can see, it has a fine edge. There's no serrations. Believe it or not, though, everything seems real tight, and there's no play in the guard or in the handle versus the pommel and the blade. Everything still seems really tight after about an hour of me, you know, hacking on stuff. And even though an hour is not very long, for something so cheap, you know, at least it gives it a little bit of a workout. And you can see the blade does kind of taper down right here to the point. Everything actually looks pretty straight until you really eyeball it, and the blade does kind of move to the right a little bit. Not sure if you can see this. It's actually really hard to show this on camera, but it does. It leans to the right a little bit, and yes, you can get it pretty much hair popping sharp. But daggone it, I'm telling you, man, the blade just doesn't hold an edge. So I think it's probably really low grade. Probably 420 steel with pretty much no carbon, and the heat treat is probably horrible. And so, you know, if you ever see the Bone Edge brand of knives that are super cheap, and you're like, man, I wonder, you know, how they perform, okay? Because I've seen them around town every once in a while. You kind of see this, not very often. And once again, this has been a while since I got this. They do have other sizes. In fact, they typically, you know, from what I've seen, they specialize in skinning knives, you know, more like skinners for like hides, for deer and such. But this is the one that I kind of found. Since I don't really hunt much, if any, and I don't really use a skinner, I was like, okay, I'll just grab this because it was just a few dollars. But so anyways, just a super quick generic review in case you're in the market for another knife. I would not select this one. Thanks for watching. You guys take care.